He's an artist, a former basketball player, and an outspoken political leader. Albania's Prime Minister, Edi Rama, is a figure as colourful and complex as the country he transformed. Last week, he hosted Global Leaders, showing off his quirky side with AI-generated baby versions of those in attendance. So, who is Edi Rama, and how has he brought change to Albania? Hello and welcome to Roundtable. I'm Enda Brady. Now, Edi Rama's journey from painting professor to Prime Minister has been marked by bold reforms and a drive to Europeanise his country. He recently won a record fourth term in office. So, how can he continue to drive Albania forward? And does it have a future in the EU?
Bending onto one knee, Albania's flamboyant leader greets Italy's Georgia Maloney at the 6th European Political Community Summit in Tirana. And not to the large size difference between the pair, the former basketball player towers over most leaders. The clip went viral, just like the AI video,
Bienvenue en Albanie,
where European leaders appeared as babies. But Rama isn't just about the show. He's been Albania's prime minister since 2013, recently winning a fourth term. Before politics, he played basketball and taught painting. In the 2000s, he became mayor of Tirana and started transforming the city. Now, as prime minister, he's making changes to the country. One focus is Albania's EU membership. Accession negotiations are underway with Rama saying it's not just politics, it's identity.
We lead a country that is the most Euro-optimistic country in Europe since a long time now.
An issue European countries are attempting to tackle is migration. Last year, Italy signed a migration deal with Albania to build detention centers in the country for migrants arriving by boat in Italy. The plan hasn't moved forward. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer was hoping to collaborate with Albania on return hubs for failed asylum seekers. But during his visit to Tirana, Rama publicly rejected the idea.
We have been asked by several countries if we were open to it, and we said no, because we are loyal to the marriage with Italy, and the rest is just love.
Edi Rama may be playful and colorful, but when it comes to Albania's future, he's a strategic and determined leader. So, can he turn bold ideas into real results and deliver on his promises?
Well, let's meet our guests. Here with me in the studio is Claire Pearsall. She's a former special advisor at the UK's Home Office and currently Chief of Staff for the Conservative Member of Parliament, Caroline Noakes. We also have Vebi Kosumi. He's an international lawyer, a political scientist with expertise in the Western Balkans countries. And joining us from Lyon in France, we have Dorian. He is an Albanian historian and author and the former director of the National Historical Museum of Albania. You're all very welcome to this roundtable. Dorian, we'll come to you first. So Prime Minister Rama, he models his party on New Labour. He's a very close friend of Tony Blair, and he's done something now that Blair couldn't do, which was win 4 elections in a row. This is quite a very smart politician.
It is true that Edi Rama, since he got the leadership of the Socialist Party in 2005, he brought a new inspiration and new ideas in the old party, which was modeled until as the other parties in the Eastern Europe. Since 2013, he has a close advisor, Tony Blair, a laborist, and the idea of the third way, even that probably was not very successful in Britain, they became fashion and very successful in Albania. He mastered to bring a lot of streams in socialist parties, starting from the right-wing intellectuals and liberals, and of course the leftist ideas. in order to achieve one goal, which is the most important for Albania in this century, joining European Union.
Thank you, Dorian. Vebi, to you, how important then is European Union membership and accession to the EU for a country like Albania?
For Albania, it's the primary thing to join the EU. The people of Albania, percentage-wise, are the most that they want to join the EU. Albania is targeting EU to join the market. They are changing the politics, the international politics. They are trying to adjust to the European values.
Claire, I want everyone to have a listen to Keir Starmer's recent interaction with Edi Rama in Albania. So the British Prime Minister went to Tirana, hoping to do a deal on return hubs for people who had been denied asylum in the United Kingdom. Starmer was hopeful of a deal. This is how it panned out.
The work that we've done on law enforcement arrangements with other countries, the return agreements that we've put in place, the record number of returns, and what I'd like to do is add return hubs to that. We are in those talks, and therefore, at the appropriate time, I'll be able to give you further details in relation to it.
I have been very clear since day one when we started this process with Italy that this was a one-off with Italy because of our very special relation, but also because of the geographical. To be very frank with you, we have been asked by several countries if we were open to it, and we said no, because we are loyal to the marriage with Italy, and the rest is just love.
Claire, you've worked at the highest level in the UK government. How does that happen that a British Prime Minister travels to Albania hoping to do a deal and then gets shot down live on TV?
It doesn't happen. And I was really surprised that Sir Keir Starmer had gone out there to have a conversation at the highest level with the Albanian government without having this written down, signed off in the background. You don't go into those kind of situations without having everything written down so that both sides know where you stand. I think he was more hopeful than anything else. And to the press in the United Kingdom, he sold this as, we weren't going to talk about returns hubs, we're just building relations with Albania in the hope that they're going to be better and we'll talk in the future. It's not going to fly because people see it as a failed attempt at these returns hubs in Albania or indeed in the Balkan area.
Now, you worked for many years with Theresa May in the Home Office when she was Home Secretary. Was the UK government trying to do deals with Albania on this even then?
It was always something we'd looked at, and it were conversations that went on. But remember, we didn't have the same number of people crossing the English Channel at the time. We were dealing with people coming in at the backs of lorries. You were dealing with a large Vietnamese contingent and also those from mainland Africa. So we weren't looking at Albania. We've always had a returns deal with Albania. So the flights would quite often go in sort of September or March to Tirana from the United Kingdom, and both countries accepted that, and it worked well. So I'm not sure that you can say that Albania aren't holding up their end of the deal when those flights and those conversations have been very good-natured all the way through.
But on the face of what we saw, quite embarrassing for a UK Prime Minister.
Absolutely. It's terribly embarrassing when you go out there and you have this staging. So I would question what those people in the background, all of those advisors, all of those ministers, what on earth were they doing, allowing the Prime Minister to go there thinking he's going to get one thing and come away with egg on his face?
Thanks, Claire. Dorian, to you. Talk to me then about the relationship between Albania and Italy, because this seems to be a big love-in anytime we see Edi Rama with Georgia Maloney, him getting down on one knee for her birthday. Albania does seem to have a very beautiful relationship with the Italians.
No, I mean, Albania has a lot of partnership with a lot of countries, but with Italy, because it is very close with the borders, it is only the Adriatic Sea that separates us, it has a special relationship which was felt since from the beginning of the transition in Albania from the democratic change in 1991. Another one bridge that is very important to bring in our mind it is that already in Italy there are a lot of Albanian immigration, which 250,000 of them they are already Italian citizens, and they are contributing to the economy of the country. Another 500,000 they are legal with the documents legalized from a lot of time. Do not forget that the Albanians, they are the country which got the highest number from Italian citizenship last year. 33,000 Albanians, they became Italians.
Thanks, Dorian. Vebi, the timeline for joining the EU, 5 years. That's what Edi Rama says. He has promised this to the Albanian people by 2030. Is that possible?
It looks possible, although I have my doubts. Montenegro and Albania leading towards the EU. Serbia is stagnating. North Macedonia, Serbia is stagnating due to Kosovo. North Macedonia issues with Bulgaria. Kosovo issues with Serbia. It is possible, as Macron on the EU has said, that the old chapters will be closed by 2017. So Albania just started to open the chapters, which are requirement by the EU. So many laws, and what is important as well, there is special structure, anti-corruption special structure in Albania, which has done a great job, has arrested the mayor of Tirana, of capital, has arrested the former president and prime minister Ilir Meta. So that is, I think, one of the things which is putting into prime steps Albania in comparison to Serbia or other places which they are not moving into fighting the crime. Although there's a lot of crime in Albania, there's no doubt that the Western Balkans are facing crime, and that is the only thing which is holding them back to join the EU. It is, I would say, between 2020 and 2025, Albania would join the EU, but I cannot predict anything in these circumstances. Who would predict that 5 years ago the world will be as it is? If you look on wars, if you look on what happens in US, if you look in what happens in Hungary, if you look in what happens in Austria, if you look what happens in France. Although I think that Marine Le Pen has been kind of, charged. So I think that is what I would think. But likelihood, I would say 2020, 2025. But currently, because things change, Serbia was much ahead of Albania just a few years ago. But because of Chapter 35, having Kosovo in their constitution are stagnating, and President Vučić going to Russian Federation to celebrate. So the EU wants to pull Western Balkans because Western Balkans is trouble, and it needs to pull with all its power and to adapt to the EU thinking.
Claire, how big a prize then for a country like Albania is EU membership, do you think? I mean, Britain famously didn't want to be in it anymore, but Albania clearly does.
It does, and you can see that there would be benefits. You look at their location, the borders that they have with other countries, and I think it would be very important to join the EU bloc. And it seems that the majority of people in Albania are looking at that as a way to increase productivity, for growth in the economy. And as Dorian has already said, there are enormous amounts of people now visiting for holidays. They want to go and explore the area. And it's one of those sort of underestimated areas of the Balkan states. And I think that you can see the benefits to them. But it was also very interesting with Dorian mentioning language, because when you look at migration, that was the one thing that the previous Conservative government got absolutely incorrect, in my view. Suella Braverman talking about invasions. You had Robert Jenrick saying that we're having free reign on Albanians. We're going to pick them up and take them back. So it's little wonder if you go over to a country like Albania saying, please, let's do a deal together, that all of these things are going to stack up against you. And also the fact you're outside of the EU, the very bloc that Albania wants to get into, they're going to look more favourably upon deals with the likes of Italy. They'll want to do more dealings with France and Germany and looking at the economy. They're not going to have the UK as a priority.
Thanks, Claire. Dorian, talk to me about life then in Albania right now. I mean, are things getting better for people? I turned on TV last week to watch the cycling Giro d'Italia, and the first 3 stages of an Italian, very famous, world-famous bike race were all around Albania. So it's clearly a country a lot of people want to visit. What's life like for the average Albanian?
I mean, the standard of living in Albania, of course, it has increased during all these years, starting from a low level from 1992 until all these great years of the fighting to achieve the European standards. Of course, the country, it is increased the economy and the way how the Albanians they are making business. Albanian companies now they are already very strong in the country, and even they play an active role and in Kosovo, in North Macedonia, and in Montenegro. The image of the country has directly moved from the icons of the turbulences of 1997. I mean, these last years, not only Giro d'Italia, but the summit of the European of the Community summit that was held in Tirana, and another activities, the leading process of United Nations, that the place that got Albania, where together with US, they prepared the resolution against Russia and in defense of the Ukraine. They have made an Albania country which already is benefiting the close relationship with the European Union, and the trying to revive and to find all the sources, economic sources, to achieve the best European models.
And Dorian, just tell me, how big an influence then do you think Edi Rama is on Albanian life? I mean, he's now starting a 4th term. This is the man who is shaping modern Albania.
We can say, however, he is the leader of the 60, that he got the 4th time to be the prime minister of Albania. In fact, the opposite was in a very weak point. Do not forget that leader of opposite of Albania is Mrs. Ali Berisha, ex-president and ex-prime minister of the country, which is non grata from US, but and from United Kingdom. He already lost the court with the Foreign Office, where he asked it the way that why he was made. Why he was expelled or was denied to enter in United Kingdom. In such a way, the Albanians could not more trust such opposition, which has leaders which they were not bringing any kind of new ideas and the new streams in which the present party, Socialist Party, and the Prime Minister Rama can push forward the process.
Let's bring Vebi back in. Vebi, how big a figure then do you think Rama is going to be in the Western Balkan nations? I mean, he's been in power since 2013. This is a guy who's clearly steering his country in a very pro-EU direction.
I think he's going to be a main leader in Western Balkans. Firstly, because he's in 4th term and is recognizable by EU, is recognized as a strong leader, and it's the only leader which the EU and the rest of international community looking towards the Western Balkans. So he has been able as well to smooth his way around the European Union and UK and to the US to an extent, in a way of thinking the same as EU, in a way of adjusting even sometimes controversial issues to Albanian community towards the EU. So he speaks, he deals, he acts like he is almost part of the EU, although he is not. Plus, he has this charisma, which is very nonchalant, and he acts in a way that he's very likable. I think that although Vučić has been president of Serbia has been long, he is not anymore recognized as a leader of Western Balkans. There was in a question of open Balkans, which was discussed with Vučić and Rama, which have now completely fallen after the attack in Kosovo in 2 years ago, Banjska attack. So I think he is there to stay, and in 4 years he is the main leader in Western Balkans without any doubt. You have issues in Bosnia, you have issues of arrest warrants of Republika Srpska leaders. So you have issues all around, although Albania has challenges.
Vebi, tell me, has he unified the Albanian people? Is he bringing people together?
I think unifying Albanian people is very difficult because they say in 3 million Albanians, 3 million kings. Albanians are in that way that is very difficult to unify. And in a way, I think by getting that much in the election, over 50% is very unusual. And in Albania, only he has managed to get that.
Thanks, Vebi. Claire, I want your impression of him kneeling in front of Georgia Maloney. You've been around prominent female political leaders for a long time. What did you make of that?
It was quite a spectacle. I wouldn't have ever expected to see another leader of a country bowing or kneeling in front of another. But again, I think it goes back to what Vebi just said, the personality and the charisma. And he can get away with that. People have paid attention to him, whereas they probably hadn't in the last, maybe, 10 years. He has come to the fore. And something like that, I think, just cements him as somebody you need to watch, as somebody who understands diplomacy, who understands how to make your headline, how to get the attention on your country, which as a leader, that's exactly what you want to do. I don't think that Theresa May would have enjoyed any of that attention if she was there. But I think Georgia Maloney actually dealt with it incredibly well, and they obviously have a close relationship. You can see that, and they took it in good spirits. But I would suggest that he perhaps is a little careful when he comes to the United Kingdom.
And Claire, just tell me, do you think more Western European leaders will be reaching out to Rama now that they see this is a guy who's here for the long term? He's clearly a charismatic leader. He knows what he's doing. Do you think you will see more people visiting him?
I think so. It does look like he is the kingpin in the sort of the Western Balkan region. But I think also people are now just going to wait and see what happens. They're going to look at how the accession to the EU goes. They're going to look at the region as a whole and the stability of that before they start to have serious conversations. But I think now he has pretty much put Albania on the map as somewhere that you can deal with. And it's quite obviously becoming a far more affluent country than it has been in the past. I think there's a lot of work still to be done. So people are going to be very, very cautious. And of course, stability in the EU is a little bit rocky at best. It doesn't matter who's around. So I think they're going to look at the situation in Ukraine. They're going to look at what's happening with Russia, and then they'll start to make choices.
How important do you think the friendship is with Tony Blair then, getting advice from someone like Blair?
It's always going to be a bonus to somebody. Tony Blair was an incredibly successful politician. He served those 3 terms with the Labour government. I'm not sure what benefit that is going to have because Keir Starmer runs his Labour Party incredibly differently to a Tony Blair Labour Party, but it will do him no harm on the world stage.
Vebi, just give me your prediction. What year does Albania then join the European Union?
2032.
2032. You think it's achievable, 7 years?
I think it is.
Final word to Dorian. Dorian, what year do you think Albania will finally get membership of the European Union?
I'm very optimistic because I know that a lot of processes and a lot of the laws Albania has started since from the process of Thessaloniki in 2002 to adapt its legislation according to the European Union. So a lot of the chapters, in fact, they are opening and they are just a procedure that they are going faster. So in 2027, that is the objective of government, they could be realized the closing of the chapters for Albania. Even today or tomorrow, it will be the opening the fifth chapter for Albania. And entering the European Union, of course, that a date that will be taken in from all the members of the European Union. So 2030 and 2 years that they need all to pass in the European Parliament's the candidature of Albania. So I think that 2030, 2032, it is an objective that can be achieved easily.
2032 it is. Dorian, thank you. Vebi and Claire Pearsall as well, all here in the studio. Remember, you can see more discussion and debate on our YouTube channel. Just search for Roundtable TRT World. But for now, from me, Enda Brady, and all the team here, goodbye and thank you for watching.